Appreciate it, man. Thank you. All right. Yeah, Trevor Farnes. I was the CEO of Mountain Ops, so I just actually hired my replacement about 6 months ago. And that was an interesting process to go through, to bring somebody on to take your baby. We've had Mountain Ops for the last 11 years. And at the 10-year mark, we hired a new guy to take my place. So now I'm out and about doing a little bit more of this, and appreciate, Cam, the words that I just heard from you. Awesome leadership. I would love to learn more from you. And I loved especially the law of the harvest there, and the law of farming. My dad used to teach about that all the time, and he would always say, if you plant peas and expect corn, you're out there. You know, you've got to put in the work to receive the harvest that you want in life. And so I'll talk about my dad in just a little bit, because he was a major inspiration in what we do at Mountain Ops. So, but thanks for letting me be here. I know you guys are probably tired. You've been sitting around a little bit. If you need a little bit of Mountain Ops, you can come grab some. I've got some stuff to give away at the end to try to keep your attention until the end, so that you stick around. So, but thanks also to Brock for inviting me to come up. Where is Brock? Okay. Thank you, Brock. And Cam and Kelsey, good friends of mine. Just so I can get to know you guys a little bit really quick, how many of you are from Utah? Okay, outside of Utah, obviously the rest, like the furthest from Utah, where are you guys from? Florida? Minnesota? Michigan? Montana? Very cool. California? Any of you aware of Mountain Ops? Use the product? Anyone? You do? Okay, I'll make sure to hook you guys up. I do. Anyone use our competitors? I don't know. Maybe some of them. Awesome. Who's married in here? Okay, I just want to kind of get a gauge. Hoping to be married soon? Just got engaged? Very cool. That's awesome. Yeah, Rich. Congrats. Any of you have kids? Okay. All right. How many kids? Who has the most?
One of the dudes, I think.
3?
He has 5.
Somebody's got 5?
Is that Cav or no? Who? Armand actually has 5 kids?
Yeah, he does.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome. I just wanted to kind of get a feel for who I'm working with, but I want to share a little bit of my journey, my entrepreneurial journey, what we've gone through, some difficult times, some resilience that we've had to incorporate into our lifestyle, and kind of a look beyond the mark of Mountain Ops and what it's taken to build that brand. I want to talk about 7 perspectives that we gained along the way that have helped us conquer more. And our mantra at Mountain Ops is to conquer more. I just saw your 3 pillars, the physical, the spiritual, the mental. We add a 4th at Mountain Ops. We call it our Conquer 90 Challenge, and it's the spiritual, physical, mental, social, what Brock's been taking you through. And so I add to that just those 3 things that you're incorporating and doing in your daily life, then bring people along with you, include the social side of it as well. There's a scripture that I love, and hopefully you guys are okay with me sharing a little bit of my faith. I won't dive into religion, but I'll dive into a higher power that's helped me along the way. And there is a scripture that says, I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. And so what I just heard from Cam was teachings about how to incorporate a higher abundance of life into your routine, an opportunity to succeed. Who's the top salesperson in this room? Nice. Okay. Who's at no, I'm not going to ask who's at the bottom. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So there's probably an abundance mentality that you live by, not scarcity.
I guess.
You guess?
I think I credit a lot of it to focusing more on the guys above us. With this industry compared to some of the others a lot of us have come from, I'd say a lot more falls on us.
Okay.
As far as like success of new guys, like Cam was saying, it's almost like a privilege.
Yeah.
But it is there's a pressure of it.
Yeah.
And that pressure makes where, in order for your guys to get the goal, you got to do big things.
That's awesome. Yeah. And they rise highest who lift as they go. There's a pressure on you, right? So you're bringing those along with you that you have stewardship over. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. I want to talk about fears in life, just to get to know you a little bit as well. How many of you fear some things in life? And who's willing to get a little vulnerable and say what one of those fears is? Yeah.
Airplanes.
Airplanes. That's the second most fear, phobia out there. Did you know that?
2 weeks didn't help that, I'm sure.
I'm extremely fearful of it, and yeah, the last 2 weeks was bad for that. Dying young. Yep, I've had that as well. It's kind of a separation anxiety that I faced as a child and into my adulthood.
For me, failing my kids in the sense of not teaching them the principles and the work ethic and the things they need to go to war every day in this world.
That's huge. That's huge. I have that same fear. And as your kids get older, I'll show you a picture of mine in a minute. It feels like, man, it's the sand is slipping through the hourglass, and it's like, where did this go? And have I done enough? So, yeah. Who else? Some other hands over here? No? Yeah.
Being forgotten.
Fear of being forgotten. That's huge. Who said that? Yeah. Up there. Okay.
Fear of dying in general.
Fear of dying. Yeah. We all say we want to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die, right?
I mean, I'm pretty young still, but I guess in the future not being able to provide for family or do stuff that I want to do with them.
That's huge.
I didn't do as a kid.
Yeah, and you know what? It's still, like, I've provided really well for my family now, but that fear still knocks on my door, like it could all go away because I've lost it before.
I'd say that fear changes too. Like, when I was younger, it was a fear of not being able to provide for my family, but now it's like a fear of maybe my kids or my girls marrying somebody that can't provide for them. So it's like a fear of I have to build something bigger than me to make sure that their tastes, like that fear changes as you get older.
Yeah. How many daughters do you have?
I have 2 daughters and 1 boy.
Okay. I've got 3 daughters and 1 boy, and that's a real fear. It definitely is. Yeah.
I fear like looking back and feeling like I didn't do enough in the past.
Okay. Regret? Yeah. Okay. All right, how about this? Anyone fear this? Okay. That's actually a 500-pound black bear, and I've gotten comfortable with black bears. Mountain Ops sells nutritional supplements through the outdoor industry. The OPS stands for Outdoor Performance Supplements. The mountain it's the mountains that we play in, but it's also a metaphor of life. The mountains that we're climbing, maybe some struggles we're having along the way. This bear was about 2 ridges over. This one, 500 pounds. And I have a major fear of bears and fear of heights, and so flying gets me. Sometimes there was fear of was it dying young? Yeah, I used to have that big time. I didn't want my wife to be left to some other dude. And I was like, no, if I die young, she's young, she's beautiful, you'll see her in a minute. And it's like, man, that just can't happen. I had a major separation anxiety fear when I was young as well, and it kind of led into my adulthood. But fear of bears and the fear of heights, and because of what I do in the outdoor industry, sometimes I'm confronted with those fears in the same incidents. And I want to share with you a story. How many hunters here? Okay, awesome.
You were there?
If you started, you're there. It doesn't matter.
I went on one hunt last 15 minutes and I shot a bear that size.
You did? In 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. That was my daughter's first hunt when they were 8 and 10 years old. No, 10 and 12. I took them on a bear hunt. They both shot bears first and second night. And we were scared to death. I tried to put on this courageous act and everything, but we were scared. And one thing about these fears, what I found oftentimes, I always used to compare it, is this a spiritual prompting to not do this, or is this fear? And I struggled with it. And the only way I came to find I could overcome it was stepping into it. And then I realized I was missing out on a lot of living. And once I stepped through those fears and I just confronted the fear of heights and the being on airplanes, I've flown all around the world now. Once I get out and I play in their playground, I've realized I've experienced so much life in abundance that we're meant to have, and it's been incredible. So there's a lot of hunting stories. If you have a hunting friend or if you are a hunter, they all have stories. And so I'm going to share with you a story to get this kicked off. I drew a limited entry archery tag in the Wasatch Front, and so we were over here by Strawberry Reservoir for about a month straight, every day, just putting in the work. And I was just coming up short time and time again. Any archery hunters or just rifle, or what? Do you know the success rate on an archery elk hunt?
Not very good.
Not very good.
Depends where your tag is.
Yeah, guess.
5%.
Okay, it's less than 10%. So the reason being, you've got to get in you've got to be stealthy. You've got to get in within a distance. You have to understand how they talk, how they sleep, how they love, how they fight, how they eat, how they drink. All these things come together, so it's very technical. And I hunt with my kids a lot, and so they're not as stealthy. They kind of can interrupt things at times. But I spent a ton of time in this mountain range, just hiking all over the place, trying everything I could. I was with a friend named Matt. He was guiding me around. He lives just down at the bottom of this canyon. Had another friend named Tyree who had the video camera, and he was capturing video content for Mountain Ops. And last day of the hunt, Matt says, I've got a tree stand down by some water. It's going to take us some time to get into it. But if we get in there, you might have to sit all day long, and this will be our last-ditch effort. You sit up there, and hopefully it's hot enough it comes in the middle of the day or before dark, and you get a shot. So we started hiking about 5 o'clock in the morning. Every noise that I heard, I thought it was this guy. And we get down into this tree stand when it's getting light. We've missed the morning hunt. You only have small windows, too. And my friend Matt pulls out his phone, and I think he's going to show me this big bull that we're going to see today and all this. I'm excited, and he shows me this, and he knows my fear. And he says, hey, this bear's on trail camera every single day coming in and out of here. So don't be afraid. It's not gonna mess with you if you don't mess with it. He says sometimes they like to climb up in the trees and tear the cloth that's on the tree stand to shreds. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm the cloth that's sitting on the tree stand. And sure enough, I look at the base of the tree, and if you can see right here, there's fresh claw marks, and they're going up. And our seats are about 30 feet up in the air, but the claw marks are going right up the tree. And up there, I see this cloth, and it's just torn to shreds. So I know something's been sitting in my chair. And I have my pack on, have my bow there, and I start climbing. Matt's taken off. He's just getting us into the tree stand, and then he's taken off for the day. So I'm climbing up, and as he's leaving, he says, I forgot the tree harnesses, so hold on tight, don't fall out. And my fear of heights just goes into like high alert. But I get up there. There's a hook off the side of the tree I was able to hook my pack onto. And so it was secure. I put my bow across my lap, and then the wind starts to blow, and we're swaying back and forth. And I'm looking down the downward slope of a deep, dark canyon. And so this 30 feet now starts to feel like 300 feet. And I'm wigging out. I'm starting to get a little vertigo. I'm getting dizzy. I start to get nauseous. I look over at Tyree, who's up looking this way. He's actually taken his hoodie, and he's tied it around his head to the tree. And he's like, I'm good, man. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to tie my head to the tree. I'm dizzy enough, and I couldn't really look around. Because every time I would look around, I'd get dizzy, feel like I was going to blank out and fall out. And so I told Tyree what I was feeling. And he says, you know what? We can climb back down. And we can build a ground blind down below, and we can wait for the elk to come in there. And I said, but that's where the 500-pound black bear is. And so he laughed at me and said, you'll have to choose your fear today. And so sometimes in life we do. We have to confront it. And it's just there, and there's no way through but through. And so I said, let me figure out if I can find a way to get comfortable. And I did what I've done my whole life. I looked down this deep, dark canyon, and I just asked God for help. I started to pray. And I just said, God, here's how I'm feeling. I don't feel right. I need some help. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sit up here all day long. It's a long hike out. Please give me something. And as I'm praying to God, I just started following the canyon floor as it ascends up. And it starts to ascend up, and I'm watching it. And it gradually comes up, and right over here, it's up here. It's not down there anymore. And all of a sudden, my perspective changes. The ground's up here. It's not down here. And that felt good. Some peace and some confidence set in. And I continued to follow that canyon floor until I was looking over my shoulder. And as soon as I was looking over my shoulder, I was now looking to higher ground. And looking to higher ground, there was immediate peace, 100% peace, confidence, security, courage that I could sit up there. But I couldn't look over my shoulder all day long, so every few minutes I'd look back. I could see the things that were causing me some fear and some harm, or could be some harm, and that set back in. And so every few minutes I'd look over my shoulder, I'd look to higher ground, and I'd let that peace settle in. On about the 5th time doing this, I saw what I think God was trying to give me. There's my pack. It's attached to the tree, but I'm not. But my pack has a big strap on it. I loosen it up. I put it over my shoulder. I crank down on it as tight as I could, and all of a sudden I'm attached to this tree. And so that peace and that courage and that confidence set in. And that was amazing, because now I could look around. I could see the beauties surrounding me. That the wind that was blowing on us felt like a welcome friend under the heat of that day. In fact, it was awesome. That wind was amazing, and I could look around and see everything. The bear did come in, and we took pictures and videos, and it didn't do us any harm, but I was attached to something. And at Mountain Ops, we have a set of core values, and those core values lead us to higher ground. It's our mission. So whatever the mission here is at your organization or within your life, if you have a mission that you're going after, what are the core values that are deeply rooted into the ground that you're attaching yourself to, that point you to higher ground, that point you to courage and confidence and peace? Do you guys have some core values here at Solar Pros?
Serve and elevate.
Serve and elevate. That's awesome. It's nice to just have 2. We've got 12 at Mountain Ops. I'm going to talk to you about them, but there's a lot. What's the mission? To serve and elevate?
Not only our people, but also the homeowners.
Okay. To take care of their needs, or is there a mission statement?
To accelerate the rate of solar adoption through minimizing costs and costing more savings to homeowners.
Cool. That's awesome. But you do it through service and elevating. What does elevating mean?
Elevate yourself, others, and whoever's counting on you.
Awesome. And I would say it probably comes through the spiritual, the physical, the mental aspects of life that you're living. You can't give what you don't have, right? And so you've got to live those principles to be able to offer it to others. I want to talk to you about 7 perspectives. As I sat up there in that tree that day, I considered what I was learning. I could have just sat up there all day long and had this experience where it was just tough to sit in a tree. But I sat up there and I learned some things. I was now attached to something, and that something gave me some courage. It was rooted in the ground. And I considered that and the core values of Mountain Ops and how we're rooted deeply in those core values, and they point us to higher ground. And so I would ask, what are the core values you have? And what perspective are you gaining? We stayed up there all day long till 9 o'clock that night. Unfortunately, no elk was harmed in the making of that story. And that's typical, less than 10%. But we sat up there all day long because we were attached to something. I couldn't have done it any other way. And so it gave me some perspective as I sat up there. And I want to talk about some perspectives that I've learned in life. The first is that we connect and conquer in life. It's all about connections. What you guys are doing here today and yesterday, I don't know how long you're up here, but these connections matter. And the things you're learning from one another. And you really can't do it without those connections in life. So I want to tell you about some of the connections that I've been blessed with in life and how they've supported me. This is my family. So you can see I've got a beautiful wife. We were married 22 years ago. We've got a daughter, Hallie. She's 20 years old. She's on a mission in Brazil. Kenzie's 18 years old, senior in high school. Beckham's 15. Savvy is 11. And this is my world right here. Those that are preparing for this, those that are fearful of future being able to provide, it's okay if even you struggle along the way. Sometimes that's the best thing that can happen to a family. And I want to tell you about our struggle and what occurred in our lives. We got married 22 years ago. I came off of a mission from Mexico. My wife just graduated from Woods Cross High School. She was 18 years old. I was 20. We dated for 2 months. We were engaged for 2 months. And we were ready to take on the world. Kind of a typical Utah LDS approach to life. And that's what we did. Super excited. This was the next phase of my life. And all of a sudden, my roles and responsibilities, especially as we added children, started to change. I was now to provide, preside, and protect over this little family unit that we had started to form. And this was incredible. This was the next chapter, and I was super excited for it. I sold pharmaceuticals for about 6 years. We ate what we killed. It was a commission-based business, and we were putting all of our commissions away. We were crushing it. Things were going well. And we put these commissions away with the hopes and the desire that one day we would start our own business, do good with that business, hopefully provide well for our family. And so in 2007, 2 opportunities piqued our interest. One was within real estate, and had we known what was right around the corner in 2008, we would have ran the other direction. Anyone else get caught in that? Or am I too old? I may be old. All right, I'm old. We invested in some real estate. Bad timing, especially to learn real estate at the time. The other one was a franchise that we bought into, and that's where we invested most of our time, most of our money. It was a retail franchise, and we bought 7 of them instead of 1. We could have bought 1 and scaled up from there, learned, but for some reason, we were super ambitious, super naive, and a little bit of dumb, but we thought, let's go big or go home. And so we invested pretty much all of our savings into this. And everything takes a little longer, and everything costs a little bit more. So we had some delays. And things started to, cost us a little bit more. We had to pay the guys that we had hired. I hired 7 mission companions or friends to run these stores. We had to build out 7 stores. We had to inventory these 7 stores. My wife and I got to sign personal guarantees on those 7 stores, which was about $5 to $7 grand a month for every single one of them. And so when that kicked in and the stores were delayed, we were paying rent before there was revenue. All of a sudden, you're experiencing an education and working capital and cash flow, and we really didn't have any. So it was a scary time of life. At the same time, this daughter right here ended up in the hospital with some kidney and liver issues. And so we had all of this stuff that was, okay, so we invested in all this. I forgot to tell you, the franchisor got shut down by the FBI about 4 months into opening up these stores. All of a sudden, there was a pause on all of our stores, and we couldn't run anything through them. Nothing to do with anything we had done, but every franchisee had to put everything on pause for a moment. We just didn't have the staying power. And at the same time, my daughter ends up in the hospital. She's got kidney and liver issues. She was deemed uninsurable because there was a mishap in our insurance going from employed to self-employed. And so we're just looking down the barrel of everything just going wrong. I had the touch of destruction. There was no Midas touch involved in anything we were doing. It was really, really difficult. And we couldn't pay on our mortgage for a couple years. Fortunately, the banks didn't catch up to us. They were busy getting to everyone else. And if you just were at the end of their list, you got to stay in your home rent, mortgage free for a period of time, which we felt bad about, but we couldn't do anything else. Our house was up for auction on a regular basis. We were in a very, very difficult situation. Anyone experience anything like this? Are you too young, or has some of you gone through some financial? What's one word that would describe what you went through?
Just anxiety, right? Unknowing.
Yeah.
Not knowing where the next step is going to come, where the next check is going to come, right? Not feeling secure.
Yeah, there's an unknown. And that can cause some anxiety. It definitely did for me, for sure. Any others experience it? Well, it's probably coming your way. If you haven't had any financial difficulties in life, it's probably at some point going to knock on your door. And you'll have a choice. And the choice is to learn all you can from it or try to run from it. But there's opportunity in it. And I hope I can share with you some of the opportunity that we found through all of this. But that feeling of unknown and anxiety and those feelings of failure were definitely on my mind. And it would cause me to walk up a mountain like this and to bury my head in my hands and to just pray to God again. What do I do? What's the next step? What direction do I take? How do I breathe? I mean, it was suffocating. You'd watch families putting up fences and buying a playground for their kids. And we had little kids and we couldn't do that. My kids had to save their money, which was really, really good. So if you try to look at the positive that comes from it, my kids had to work to build their playground, to buy their playground. And it was used, and we found it on KSL. And they emptied their pockets full of cash to go buy it, and it was incredible. But I had the support at home that meant the most to me. While I felt like this failure and this unknown and this anxiety, my wife never let me feel like a failure. So those of you who are married, who raise your hand again. One of the best things you can do for your spouse is to make sure you support them. Never let them feel like a failure. Support them in everything that they do. Have you guys been offered that in your life? I know Brock and Kelsey really well. She shows up for him in incredible ways. Do you guys have that at home? What's one thing that your spouse has done for you that demonstrates that?
Moved across the country 5 times.
Moved across yeah, that's huge. Okay, any others?
Had to deal with us being across the country 5 times,
That's-
being separated for that amount of time.
That's a lot, huh?
Gone for 4 or 5 months out of the year.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. So that's huge. Yeah, were you going to say something?
Yeah, every time I go out for 10, 12 days every month, I have to, my wife takes care of everything with their kids, getting to and from, and it takes a lot of trust from both of us that we're going to be putting our all into everything.
Yeah.
For our family.
It's awesome. We've got a friend, Brock and I, his name's Chad Hymas. In a situation like this, he would have you pick up your phone, send her a text right now, and not say, I love you, babe. Say, I am sitting here and I am recognizing how much you do to support me. And I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you. Will you do that before you go to bed tonight?
Of course.
Okay. You too? You too? 5 times, that's big. Brock, do it for Kelsey.
I was gonna say too, it's easy for me to look up to Kobe Bryant, but as I'm saying here, yeah, my wife shows up every day.
Yeah.
She's the first one in the gym. She's the last one out. She's taking care of sick kids. Realistically, yeah, she's my Kobe Bryant.
She's the hero.
She shows up every day.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, so right now, you guys have people in your lives like this that aren't here. They should be the beneficiary of everything you're doing at this event together today. And if you're young and you don't have that right now, think of, are you guys married right here? No. No kids? I don't know, I was just guessing.
18 to 22, bro.
I want you to imagine during this, your future family, your future wife, your future children. And what are you going to take away from this that will benefit their lives? The ones that benefit from this event that you guys are holding are not here. It's the customers. It's the wives. It's the children. my greatest fear in coming up here and speaking, Kelsey asked me if I'm nervous. My anxiety is that I come and share something and it doesn't land, it doesn't penetrate the heart, you don't take anything away, and then we've wasted an hour of our time. These people in your lives, they matter most, and they might not be in your lives right now, but be considering, what am I doing right now to build the foundation that they will be blessed one day because of what we're doing, what we're talking about? I'd challenge you to do that. So for me, I realized I'm not meant to succeed on my own. I really, really strong lesson that I learned, just trying to do so many things on my own. And I realized that it doesn't happen that way. We need connection to conquer. And for me, it came by way of connection to my family, a beautiful wife, amazing children who always supported me, a Mountain Ops family and team that has been incredible as we come together and we have that mission, that higher ground that we look to, and everyone signs up to live these core values of service and elevation. Is that what it is? Yeah. If we all subscribe to that, we all live it, we all succeed together. This connection is incredible. But most importantly, our number one core value at Mountain Ops, and these core values at Mountain Ops, they're not like, hey, we started a business, what should they be? This is what I was taught as a child. This is what has been a part of my life. It's recognizing the greatest connection I have, which is with God. This is our number one core value at Mountain Ops, to recognize God even in the workplace, and we try to acknowledge His hand in all things and in all ways. And so I'd ask each of you and challenge you, whatever that higher ground is for you, if it's the same God that I pray to, great. If it's something else, lean on that connection. Build it, strengthen it daily through those principles that were just taught. The next perspective, overcome ego. I felt like this a lot during this time. I would say to my neighbors and to my friends, my life is good. It's really good. My ego is just in the way. The walls were up, and that was crazy because my life was not good. I wanted a new duty. I wanted a new responsibility. I wanted new income, revenue, whatever it was. But I would tell everyone around me, my life is good. And it wasn't. And what I found was that had I been vulnerable and opened up, there was a lot of people in my neighborhood across the street from me that were going through similar things. They had invested in real estate. They had done some of these things. And none of us were opening up, and we could have supported each other along the way. So when you're in settings like this and you're growing and building, ask the questions. Say, I'm struggling with this. I need help here. You're the top sales guy. Teach me what you do. How did you do that? How is your wife moving 5 times? My wife's struggling with that. Open up and drop the barriers so that relationships can be built and you can connect and conquer. The third, own the moments. I was really ticked off at this guy that we had bought these franchises from. You can imagine, you've now invested everything you've just saved up for the last 6 years, and now it's gone. And you do feel like you're starting over. And that was a fear of mine, having to start over. And so I never wished him any ill will, but I remember kneeling down next to my bed one night, again praying, and I was voicing these frustrations to God. Here's what I'm going through. The unknown is killing me. The anxiety is crazy. I feel like a failure. What do I do? And all of a sudden, as I'm expressing this and expressing the frustration about this guy, I had these words come to my mind. I wrote the check. And so often in life, we need to pay attention to what we've written the checks for. Are they bouncing? Are they clearing? We make mistakes at times. I chose to buy 7 franchises. I could have bought one. I could have scaled up from there. But I think we needed to learn some serious lessons that came from the pain that was involved in 7 franchises. So what checks are you writing right now that you need to say, you know what, I wrote that. There was no gun to my head. That was my choice. And so there's accountability. There's forgiveness offered. I remember thinking, when I see this guy again, I wonder what the interaction's going to be. And I saw him at Joy Luck Restaurant in Bountiful. And I walked right over to him. We shook each other's hand. I didn't bring anything up. I just asked how he was doing. He had a small family. He made some mistakes. I made the mistake of investing too much, too quick. And he made some mistakes as well. We just shook each other's hands. We've seen each other on occasion since. Everything's okay. We need to offer some grace and forgiveness, and we need to request it at times. And we need to recognize that we write the checks. So, yes, I need to fess up to the fact that I made a mistake, but also during this, I was learning so much through the trials, through the frustrations. I was gaining eyes to see a different way than I had seen before, and I needed to own that. So when you look at ownership and accountability in life, don't just own the mistakes that you've made, but maybe if you've made some mistakes and you're thinking like, okay, man, I shouldn't have done that. What are you also learning from it that you can own and you can apply to your life? Commit to the core. Those that have kids here, those that have wives here, those that have, who has a girlfriend, okay? Does she love you?
Yeah.
Why?
Look at it.
I know. I mean,
I'd say I'm just caring. I sacrifice, I just make things work.
and she knows that about you.
Yeah.
What if you had a really crappy year this year in sales and you brought home hardly anything?
I think obviously it definitely would be tough for sure.
Have things always gone well for you, Cam?
No,
So did she stick with you?
she stuck with me.
Why?
Because we did it together. It was a team effort. She was my support. I was her support through good and bad.
What does she love most about you, do you think? Is that funny?
Probably just the amount of care I have in being a good father and husband.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I mean, she can trust you as a father and husband. That's amazing, and you care about it. Anyone else? Who loves you most in life? Who's willing to share who loves them most? Yeah.
As much as I would like to say the wife, definitely just the kids, right?
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of unconditional.
Okay. Good.
Because I have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, even if I succeed, I fail,
Yeah.
love just comes unconditional.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. It's a different kind of love with kids, right? Yeah, yes.
For me, it's my parents.
Okay, why?
I can go and kill someone and they still love me.
They kill someone and they probably would. They'd be disappointed in you for sure, but why do they love you that much?
I'm their kid.
They,
It's just how it's been. So
they-
that'll resonate, kind of what Cam said. That'll be able to pass on to my kids too.
Yeah.
I love them that way.
Okay. Do your customers love you guys? Some? Which ones love you most?
No issues.
Service, elevation, no issues? Yeah. Okay. So my daughter's on a mission right now in Brazil. We just got a message from her mission president, the guy that's presiding over her. He said he says, we want you to know how proud we are of your daughter. She is low maintenance, high yielding. I mean, if you look at a chart like that, that's what you want of your team, right? Low maintenance, high yield. To receive that compliment about my daughter, she's focused on the greatest thing she could ever focus on, and she is low maintenance, high yield, and we trust her. Hopefully you're providing that to the team, the support, everyone that's incorporated here. Okay, these people that love you most, it's because they know you best. Success is knowing that those who know you best love you most. So you're true to the core. I could fail in my business and my wife would still know that I am an honest man who is trying with everything I've got to fulfill the responsibilities to provide, preside, and protect. And she knew that. And so she stuck by my side. And she knew that I was a loving, caring husband and father. And so, yeah, we could go through the rough times in life. And she loved me most because she knew me best. She knew me to the core. But I would say there's one other that knows us best and loves us most. And I'll always tie it back to recognizing God. God knows you best, loves you most. He knows all your mistakes. He knows all your failures. He knows you better than you know yourself. And so there's always someone you can connect yourself to and know that you're okay. All right. Time and attention. And real quick, I look back at this and there's some fancy cars, there's some nice houses, there's a nice cabin, all of this. Be careful how we define success in life. You want those comfortable things, those things in life that you're shooting for, that you're striving for, and that's okay. I love that kind of stuff as well, but don't place your value on it. Place it on the relationships that matter most. Time and attention. I had a dream once. Have you guys ever had one of those dreams you wake up from and it just feels real? I'm coming back to you guys every time. Have you had one of those?
Yes,
yeah?
absolutely.
Well, what do you want to share your dream?
I have these weird, recurring dreams where I'm on a boat.
A boat?
It always keeps sinking.
Oh, no. Not that one. Not those ones. That's...
I'm like drowning and stuff.
All right.
I don't know. It feels really nice.
Okay. Well, guess what? There might be something to that. Hopefully...
Not really sure, but...
Hopefully, there's some times in your life that might feel like you're sinking and you learn a lot from it. There's some perspective moments from it.
Absolutely.
Right? And you gain. So I had one of these dreams where I was standing on a stage and I was all alone on the stage, looking to my right, looking to my left. I didn't know why I was there, and it concerned me. I was frustrated. Fortunately, I was fully clothed. It wasn't a naked dream. I've had plenty of those, usually in church, and I'm trying to find a toilet. And anyways, weird, I know. But this one was different, than just one of those scary dreams. There was something to learn from it, because I was sitting there looking out. It was actually not like this. It was like this, but there was like thousands of people out in front of me. And I didn't know why I was there. And all of a sudden, a hand goes up. And so I obviously look towards that hand. And as I'm looking towards that hand, I see another hand go up over here. And then another hand over here. And some of the people I knew. There was people from church, the community, people from work. And then there was a bunch of strangers I didn't know. And I was really confused as why would they be doing this? And I was frantically trying to find my family. I just knew they were out there somewhere. And all of a sudden, 5 hands go up over here. And I look to them. And their hands go up. And with their hands in their eyes, they're begging for me to not look away. And so I'm doing this, and then I was distracted because another hand went up. And so I'm looking over here. In my dream, I came to realize what I was doing. I was on the stage of an auction, and I myself was the auctioneer. I was auctioning off my time and attention, the most valuable gift we can give to another, the most valuable gift we have, our time. And what do we do with it? The most valuable use of time is to give attention. Right, Brock? Well, how are we using our time? What's the attention going towards? And so I woke up that morning, rolled out of bed, onto my knees, and I'm thanking God for this dream and what should I learn from it. And I'm thinking about all the people that I'm giving my time and attention to, all those that are distracting me in life that maybe I shouldn't give time and attention to, and those that I needed to. The next day we ended up in the hospital. My wife's grandmother was passing away, and as she slipped in and out of consciousness, she talks to us about time and attention and the time that matters most and the attention to the relationships that matter most. And to make sure we're paying off our debts, and all these counsels she's given us before she passes away. But I think about this often because we're bombarded with so much. So many opportunities, so many distractions, so many things on our phone, so many requests of our time. Are the most valuable bidders getting our time and attention? Do they deserve it? And so I would challenge each of you to analyze your life and recognize, are the most valuable bidders getting that? If you have family, if you have future family, put the time into those relationships that matter most. Endure the day. Two more perspectives. This one was really important to me. As I sat up in that tree stand, the only way I could stay up there all day long was because I was attached to something. So what's the mission in your life that you're attaching yourself to? For me, it was my father. Okay. In 2010, we'd been into this. We had 7 years of famine. It took us 7 years to really start making some money. But 3 years into it, we lost almost everything. No money in the bank account. As that's slipping down and we're living life below zero, you're doing everything you can just to replace what you've lost. So I was, not everything. I wasn't doing anything unethical or immoral or anything, but I was trying to sell anything I could, do anything I could for people to replace what was being lost. And I was not attached to a mission, so that didn't feel right to me. And at the time, my dad had a few stents put in his heart, and horrible heart disease, couldn't feel his fingers and toes, bad neuropathy, bad blood pressure. His dad died of a heart attack. My mom's dad died of a stroke, so there's a history of that in our family. And with this happening to my dad, I'm thinking, I've got to do something about this. So I picked up a book I typically wouldn't read. It's called No More Heart Disease, and it was all about helping people with heart disease and some amino acids that you could provide to people to help increase their blood flow and circulation. And so I took this book to a chemist friend of mine. I had no money, but I said, could you whip up a concoction for me? I want to put my dad on this. He took the ingredients we've read in this book, put it together. My dad started taking it. Within about 3 days, he could feel his fingers and toes again for the first time in like 10 years. So we knew we were onto something, and I was excited about this because now this was the mission that I could attach myself to. My dad showed up to our family photo. These are all my siblings wearing a Mountain Ops shirt. He was so proud of everything Mountain Ops was doing and that he had something to do with the start of it. This was the last time I saw my dad, just over a year ago. And he had to get out of the car to show me that he was wearing his favorite shirt. I just got this shirt for my birthday. My mom gave it to me, and it has some special meaning now for various reasons. But he became my mission. And with a mission like that, you can sink your teeth into it. You can stick around. You can stay up in the tree stand for a long time. You can endure the heat of the day because you're attached to something important. And my dad was important. And there's a lot of people suffering from heart disease out there. And so we started to build a business. And it wasn't called Mountain Ops at first. It was Phoenix Nutrition. We wanted to rise from the ashes. Me financially, my dad with his health. So we called it Phoenix Nutrition. And it was awesome. But a few years into that, we found this really incredible opportunity. And sometimes in life you have to pivot along the way. And we still have Phoenix Nutrition going. It's being run by some incredible individuals right now, and they're crushing it. But we also have Mountain Ops. But we found a need in the hunting industry. And it was really cool because there's this hunter-athlete movement that was going on in 2014 with brands like Under Armour, Yeti, Sitka. And sometimes we have to take those opportunities when they come. There was no supplement brand. There was no consumable leading the way. So we thought, I've got products that we've been selling through doctors' offices. They're, doctors are adding to the credibility of these formulations. We can do something with this in this new space. So we rebranded it. We launched it with the mission to improve the lives of individuals and families in everything we do. That's the higher ground that I was looking to. The core values were what we were attaching ourselves to that would cause us to make certain choices, and our decisions would lead us to this mission. Anyone been to the Hunt Expo down in Salt Lake City? Have you seen the Mountain Ops booth?
Yeah, I used to, Austin at Hunting Pool?
Yeah.
I used to guide with those guys.
Okay, cool. So Mountain Ops is a pretty big deal at the Hunt Expo now. We started out really small, a little 10 by 10 booth with a truck in it with Diesel Brothers the first year. Nobody knew who we were. We showed up there. I was scared to death because I hadn't hunted. I've hunted all over the world now, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a huge passion for my family. But that first year, I was scared because they told me people are going to come up, they're going to share their hunting stories like I did to start this out, but I didn't have any to share, so I wasn't sure what I would talk to them about. And these are big, burly dudes coming in with big beards, and so I'm a little intimidated. And they'd pull out their phones, and they'd show me a picture like this, and they'd say, here's the bull that I shot this year. Here's the buck that I shot this year. And they'd use words like toad. Like, I shot a toad, and I was like, they're hunting frogs? But there's a lingo that comes along with it I didn't understand. And so the next year, I was like, I'm going to have the stories to tell. I went out and I hunted in Africa first, and then here, and then Alaska, New Zealand. And I got all these pictures, and I was ready. I had them ready to go so I could tell the stories. And these big burly dudes would walk in the booth again the next year. They'd pull out their phone, and I'm expecting to see their kill shots. But this year, they pulled it out, and it was their killed it shots. And these big, muscular, masculine men would start to cry. And they'd say, you should see what I'm doing as a father. You should see what I'm doing as a husband. I'm at home, rolling around in the grass, wrestling my kids. I'm reading to them at night. I'm taking them to church again. All these things. My wife loves me. I've got the energy to support her in ways that I never did before. And all of a sudden, I realize our mission is coming to fruition. We're improving the lives of individuals and families in everything we do. It really had nothing to do with the animal that they were killing. It had everything to do with how they were killing life. So they'd hire us to help them lose weight. They'd hire us to help them gain some muscle and strength. Sometimes they win some money for doing it. We've got a Conquer 90 challenge going on right now. This guy won $30,000. He put down a bottle of vodka the night he decided to join us. He had been drinking from the age of 12, and he was like 38 years old. Put it away, hasn't touched it in 2 years, won $30,000, his life's changed. But most of all, people just want connection. So I take it back to that perspective. People would come into our booth and they want to connect, and this Mountain Ops is about connection. There's values that bring them into this fold and give them some purpose as a part of our team. So we did a big research study about 2 years ago. We paid about $50,000 to a group called Mindsight. They study us against the competition. Some that you guys mentioned as I started this, others that are massive brands out there. The people involved in it, there was 3,000 people. They had to have been taking a supplement like ours. They had to have been doing activities in the outdoors over the last 6 months. And they were comparing us to the competitors. This group came back and said, we're seeing something with Mountain Ops we've never seen before. The supplement industry is very saturated. There's not a lot of loyalty. Maybe it's similar to what you guys do. I don't know. People jump from ship to ship. They're looking for codes. So it's very fragmented. It's not a trusted industry. People can put claims on their labels and hide behind a screen and sell millions of dollars worth of supplements. And that's going on. It's very prevalent. But they said, we're seeing something different with Mountain Ops we haven't seen anywhere else. And the headliner is, you're a brand people trust. And that was huge for us. Trust is one of our core values. And we're like, okay, why? Why are they trusting us? And they gave us a spreadsheet, and it had everything to do with our core values at Mountain Ops. These 12 core values that guide and direct our decisions every single day. When I meet with a new employee that joins, it's crazy. It's awesome. 3,000 people that you've got now. Like, there'd be no way to keep up with all those connections, right? We're still a smaller team. We've got about 50 team members at Mountain Ops. So every new individual that comes in, I give them a pair of shoes. I talk to them about the choices they make and the shoes they wear today and how it will affect the shoes they wear tomorrow. And these are how they make their choices. They need to be in accordance with this. And when they do that, our brand experience that we offer is incredible. But if we live contrary to these, it's diminished because this is what we've said to the world that we would be. And so if we live contrary to it, it messes the whole experience up. The mission is destroyed. We don't get to that higher ground. For us, there's a lot. I love that you have 2. We have 12, 1 for every month. So right now, the month of February, it's ownership. We start the year recognizing God. We end the year with joy, hoping that as we look back, we've experienced joyful moments, especially as we've recognized God. But this is what's caused all the difference for Mountain Ops to be a brand that people trust, living true to the core values. The last one, and then I'll wrap this up. What time do we got, Brock? Am I good for?
4:39, you're good.
Okay. When my father passed away, it had nothing to do with his heart. When he passed away, he actually fell down their stairs, and it was super tragic because this is my hero. This is my example. He fell down their stairs late at night, going to get a drink, and broke his neck. And they resuscitated him twice, and they said his heart is incredibly strong. He'd been taking Mountain Ops. But he just couldn't survive the fall. He severed his spinal cord completely. And I remember sitting down after his funeral. This was devastating. His first death in our family. Anyone experienced some death close to home? Pretty painful experience. Who did you lose?
Yeah, I was raised by my grandma, and she passed last year.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's hard, right? Fortunately, it's a temporary separation, and that's how I look at it. And I've got faith and hope in that. Anyone else that has had this occur? Yeah.
My brother.
Your brother.
Yeah.
How long ago?
4 years ago.
Wow. Difficult, right?
That's hard.
So my mom's been married to my dad for 55 years. They've got 38 grandkids sitting in front of her after the funeral. There's 6 great grandkids, all of her children. We're all there. And she pulls out her letters from home, her scriptures, and she said, I was reading this morning, and I read one line, and it says, I do this for a wise purpose. So if we can look at life in that way and look at everything that's happening for us and say, what is the wise purpose in this? My family went through some financial difficult times. My kids had empty plates. We had empty pantries. Food was the topic of conversation all the time in our home. If we had an extra $5, it was a $5 hot and ready pizza on Friday night. That was an incredible night of the week. It's the simple things. I could have cared less about providing a huge home or a fancy car at the time. My kids just wanted the simple things. And if we had a little bit of extra, it would go towards food. And so that became a topic for us. We started to realize that these statistics were real. Right in Davis County, Utah, I live in Farmington. 1 in 4 kids go home on the weekends without enough food in the pantry. And that was my family. We were the 1 in 4. Did you guys know that is so prevalent here amongst us? Anyone aware of that? Anyone grow up in that? Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you experience that?
Yeah, I mean, just, it wasn't like ridiculous to a point where like there was nothing ever, but I mean, just like I resonated a lot with you saying food was like the topic, like the pantries weren't ever fully stocked. I'd go to a friend's house and be like, holy crap,
Yeah.
you guys got everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of that sort of like, I still have stuff to eat, but I mean, it was definitely limited. Like getting a pizza on a Friday night was awesome.
Huge, huh? Yeah, we weren't starving, but we were hungry.
Yeah.
And as a parent, that weight on our shoulders, it weighed on us. It was difficult. The school lunch balance that was emailed to me on a weekly basis was big. And even if it was $15, it stressed me out because I was leaving that undone and my kids were eating, and I wasn't telling the school that I was struggling. And so it was difficult. But we started to realize this was all happening right around us. And what I've found in life is that you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. So we could go through this perspective moment. We could go through these 7 years of famine, and we could just say that was a really difficult time. Pretty common experience, actually, that if we don't face it, haven't faced it, you probably are. It just happens in life. Some of us will have the stroke of luck where it just doesn't financially, things go well. But a lot of times this happens. So what perspective moments in your life are you owning? And now you can most powerfully position yourself to help somebody that was once in your shoes. And that's what we've done at Mountain Ops. Part of the reason why people trust us is we're not just a supplement brand. You can look at every supplement brand out there and they say, we taste the best, we are the best. And we say that. We taste the best, we are the best. Some of you are going to try it. You can share it, hopefully. But we feed a hungry child with every order that comes through our website. And this is what we do with our Operation Conquer Hunger. Is there audio on this? Just going to watch a quick video and then I'll wrap things up. When I first went off on my own, everything looked perfect on paper. All the projections showed profitability. I thought that I knew what I needed to know to create success, and there was a lot of things that I found I needed to learn. We had saved up enough to be able to go invest cash into the first business that we started, and we had just built a new home, and so we felt like we were secure. It was almost as if the moment we wrote the check for that franchise, that a button was pushed and everything financially around us kind of began to crumble. We started getting pretty scared about the situation we were in and how we were going to pull ourselves out of it. More than anything, I wanted to succeed as a husband and as a father. Your responsibilities are to provide, preside, protect. I started to feel like I was failing in most of these regards. The grocery bill was probably the biggest thing on my mind most of the time. Like, they've got to eat, they've got to have that. Making sure my wife knew that she had the freedom to go and get food for the kids. That was what weighed on our minds most of the time. There was one morning where she came into my room and she fell on the ground and just said, "It's all gone." And I didn't know what she was talking about at first. I couldn't get her under control. And she just said, "I just got into our bank account. Everything is gone." We were completely empty. We had little jobs here or there that we'd do for people, and it brought in enough to just cover certain bills, but there was plenty that were going unpaid. There was one day that really stands out in this experience where it was actually Thanksgiving Day, and it's a day we didn't have to worry about food. And literally about 30 minutes before we left to go up to our family's home, we had a knock on the door, and there was a lady at the door, and she had paperwork that she was serving us to let us know that our home would be up for auction in the coming week. And so that day of feasting and no hunger kind of became a day of very weighted down emotion. I remember looking that up that night and seeing pictures of our home online. I didn't know people had been around taking pictures. My wife said that she'd see them often. She'd look out the window and wonder why people were taking pictures of our home, but now we knew. Oftentimes I would come in to the room and find Jenna on her knees, and oftentimes there was tears. And on one such occasion, I had left in the morning to go to the office, and I knew there wasn't much in the pantry. She had put our two daughters in the tub, and she went into her closet and she prayed. And she just said, "Heavenly Father, I need something today for my children. I can't do it. I need your help." And she ended her prayer, and right as she said amen, the doorbell rang, and she went to the door, and there was a pile full of groceries. And I remember getting a call from her, and she said, "We've had another miracle." And we knew somebody was aware. We knew God was aware, but we knew that there was someone around that was being directed to help us in that very moment when my wife, especially my wife, needed it most and was praying for it most. The hope that brought, not only to me and my wife, but to my kids, and the happiness and the smiles that put on their faces, they'll never know how grateful we are. I now have an opportunity to understand people better, to maybe see the need more clearly, and an understanding on how to respond. 1 in 4 children right here in our Davis County School District go home from school on the weekends with not enough food in their pantries. That was my family. We were the 1 in 4. I didn't know that so many others were facing the similar struggle. I went to my partners one day and just said, "Hey, I found a program where we can help those in need that they could never even comprehend supplementing for their nutrition. People can't even fathom a meal. Let's help them with some food."
My partners were totally on board and they said, let's do it. Operation Conquer Hunger is very simple. From every order that comes through our website, we donate a vitamin nutritious meal to a child in need. We're all working towards that goal of helping as many people as possible. That's our mission at Mountain Ops, is to improve the lives of individuals and families in everything we do. Since creating Operation Conquer Hunger, tens of thousands of orders have come through our website, which means that we've been able to provide hundreds of thousands of meals to children right around us. And it's been an amazing project for our company to be a part of and to really feel the impact of helping 1 in every 4 kids right here in Davis County. Looking back at the experiences we had as a family, I can't be more grateful for those that came to our aid, that provided those groceries, those angels that left stuff on our doorstep to help us through those struggling times. And now that we're in a different situation, I'm so grateful to be able to even now help someone in need. Our commitment and devotion to Operation Conquer Hunger will not let us stop until we've exhausted every effort and resource to help as many children in need as possible.
Thanks, guys. I'll wrap this up real quick. We just hit the 7 millionth meal mark with Operation Conquer Hunger, and it's because we have customers that buy our product understand that the resource that is going to support them is also going to support a child or a family in need. So community is built, trust is built, a mission is built and fulfilled. And I'd love at some point if with Solar Pros we could hold an event like this. I'm going to put a QR code up here in a minute that next week at the Hunt Expo we will pack 60,000 meals in the evening of, I think it's Thursday. And we need more helping hands. So if you're in the area, if you want to, it's free to come to. We've got food, music, and then we pack 50 to 60,000 meals together. We've done that with Neuromastery. We packed about 30,000 meals this last summer, but we do this throughout the year. And if you're in the local area, this gives you an opportunity. I put this picture back up because holding a bottle of Cheese Whiz, I mean, that put a smile on our face. That would have been on our Christmas list that year. That's where things were. We could not buy Cheese Whiz, but that's what they wanted. And so this represents to me somebody that understood the need that we had, but went above and beyond and provided the desire. Somebody that served and elevated in a major, major way. Somebody that probably had been through it before, so they were responding to the need that they understood. And our need now has become the gift that we're able to offer 7 million times over. And it started with $22. And for me and my wife, looking at our faith, anytime in the Bible there was anything to do with food, feed my sheep, I am the bread of life, or the loaves and fishes, that's what we honed in on. And I felt like that young lad in that scripture where it was a young lad that took a few loaves and a few fishes, and it was $22 for us, and that's where we started. And that $22 is now built, and it's grown to where we have a massive community that supports this millions and millions of times. And so there's so much that we can learn from the trials we go through, so many perspective moments that we can gain. If we own them, it's like the loaves and fishes that we can multiply. And I want to challenge you guys to do something in here. All of you are making money. You're doing this. You've probably made a lot of money. $22 in the next week. I want you to take $22 and I want you to buy some food. And that can be at the grocery store paying for someone's bill. It can be in the drive-thru, somebody behind you. It can be going into a school and finding a father or a mother who has $22 that could be paid down on a school lunch balance. Just walk in. That's where this all comes. The rubber hits the road. We lift as we go. Are you guys willing to do that? $22 and watch how that multiplies in your life? Raise your hand if you're willing to do that. All right. And if you find me on Instagram or whatnot, just send me a message. $22, here's what I did. My promise to you is that it all comes back 12 baskets full. It's what was depicted in this story. It's what's been depicted in my life. It comes back 12 baskets full. The more we give, the more we get. And then what do we do with the 12 baskets? We have additional resource to do more and to do more and to be a resource to those around us. So here's the QR code. Thanks for letting me be here with you today.